Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today the question is, what is openness to experience? Now when I refer to openness to experience, I'm referring to the Big Five model of personality traits, also known as the five-factor model. And openness to experience is one of those five personality traits. Sometimes when we think of these personality traits, we think of the acronym OCEAN. So we have OCEAN. Openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So when we look at openness to experience, when we look at people that are high in this personality trait, they would be intellectually curious, innovative, tend to appreciate art and beauty. They would like theories that try to explain how things work or why things work. They tend to be more adventurous, imaginative, aware of their feelings, have a high level of insight, and tend to be fairly attracted to the idea of abstract thinking, philosophical. They can challenge authority, and they spend a good amount of time in their imagination, fantasizing and being creative. People that are high in openness to experience tend to dislike routine. They are flexible, and they tend to persevere with certain tasks. So some of these characteristics, of course, are generally considered positive, for example, in a workplace environment. And individuals that are high in openness to experience tend to be promoted to leadership positions more often than those who are low in openness to experience. Openness to experience is also fairly stable over time, although it does tend to increase a little bit as people grow older. So if we look at individuals that have a lower level of openness to experience, they tend to dislike change and tend to like routines. They tend to make safe decisions and have low tolerance for a lot of varying ideas. Also, they have a restricted range of interests, so they have lower levels of intellectual curiosity. So if we think about the five personality traits, a lot of times we look at how well they connect with success, satisfaction, happiness. Openness to experience is one of those traits that's clearly associated with success. In other traits, it's much more debatable. Extraversion, agreeableness, it's not really clear. There's advantages to being extroverted and introverted, agreeable and disagreeable. With conscientiousness, of course, we know that this is a trait that employers tend to look for, individuals that are high in conscientiousness. And openness to experience falls into that category as well. However, just like all of the personality traits, when there's an extreme manifestation of a personality trait, that can be problematic, even in a personality trait like openness to experience, which is generally associated with a lot of good things, with success and high performance and being promoted at work, and to some extent, life satisfaction. When we look at the extremes, there can be problems. So in looking at some of the downsides for someone who's extremely open to experience, the first would be non-conformity with societal standards. And again, we could look at this as negative in some ways and positive in others, but it can be problematic for some people. Also, we see this tendency to adopt extreme ideas. And again, this could be argued that it's not all negative and certainly not all positive. But one of the effects of adopting really extreme ideas that go against the mainstream a lot, would be that relationships could be difficult to form. So it could compromise somebody's ability to make friends. It could alienate people. And the last potential downside we see with openness to experience at the extreme level would be the tendency to fantasize too much, to spend too much time in imagination. And this can, of course, have an effect on productivity. So where does this personality trait come from? Well, as with all the personality traits, we're not really sure, but we know there's a genetic component and an environmental component. When we think of the biological basis for a personality trait, we think of the word heritability. So this is the extent that we can explain a personality trait from genetics. and we look at the heritability of openness to experience, its heritability is higher than any of the other personality traits. So higher than conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Still, there's a significant environmental component to the openness to experience trait that we really don't understand. In terms of what causes somebody to be high or low on this continuum of openness to experience, we're really not sure. As I mentioned, though, these personality traits are stable over time. Openness to experience is as well. So with openness to experience generally thought of as positive, or certainly positive in many ways, how can someone increase this trait? Well, all personality traits are relatively stable, and there is debate in the scientific community as to whether personality traits can really be changed at all, or certainly if they can be changed in the long run. There's some evidence that shows personality traits can be changed in the short run, but not as much that they can be changed in the long run. I believe that personality traits can change a little over time, even in the long run. As we see when people mature, personality traits tend to change a little. However, it is difficult, and you could think of it probably less as changing and more as adapting behavior. And if you look at the construct of conscientiousness, for example, there's some clear behaviors that can be changed to increase conscientiousness or to increase the appearance of it. So adopting a schedule and being more organized, being reliable. With openness to experience, it's not as clear how the behaviors could be changed to appear more open to experience. So what types of behaviors would need to be changed for somebody to be more innovative, intellectually curious, or creative? So that becomes more challenging. Still, probably spending time with the arts, music, poetry, drama, and trying to gain an appreciation of how they are put together and how they are expressed could help. Certainly intellectual pursuits and trying to adopt more flexible thinking could have some impact. Openness to experience, like the other personality traits in the 5-factor model, is on a continuum. So it's not really the case that somebody is either open to experience or they're not, but rather where they're positioned on that continuum. I hope you found this description of openness to experience to be interesting. Thanks for watching.